So, okay, so this is nawa, and then in this case we have the word in which we see that all of these are a singular syllable, meaning these should be read in one sound. So sapata, pa, sapata, pa, sapata, pa, sapata, panga, pang, sapata, panga, pang. So let me just go back. Yes, so sapata, panga, pang, sapata, panga, sa, pang. So last time we also discussed that this being the resuffix or the postsuffix can be pronounced as se or sa, and it is the difference is only being of the regional dialect, meaning the place where you are living in Tibet. So in certain part, which is more like in the more eastern part, this will be pronounced as the sa, whereas at the more central part, it will be pronounced as se. So this could be pronounced as sapata, sapata panga pang, sapata panga sapang in the more eastern part of Tibet, whereas sapata pa, sapata panga pang, sapata panga se pang. So you see, it can be pronounced as se in the central part of Tibet. So the difference is the influence of the regional dialect, meaning the only difference comes from in which part of Tibet you're living, and that makes the difference in of how you are pronouncing this post-suffix letter. So sapata pa, sapata panga pang, sapata panga se pang, or sapata panga sa pang, sapata pa, sapata panga pang, sapata panga sa pang, 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 pang. So pang means to abandon or to give up on something. For example, certain things that needs to abandon, like non-virtuous deed. So this is pang. So now this one sa. So we see that this is a word that is of two syllable, the first syllable and the second syllable, and we see that the second syllable is pa, but since it is a part of a name where it comes as the second syllable, it comes alone. It doesn't have vowel or head-join or subjoin letter or any of the prefix or suffix or post-suffix letter. We see that this needs to be pronounced as wa and not pa. In normal cases, it will be pronounced as pa, but in these cases, these particular cases, it will be pronounced as wa. So it will be wa. And another thing that I want to clarify is that in some of the cases, you will see that the second syllable is not wa, but pa. So it can be bel wa or bel pa. So this is the case where the second syllable can be either of the two sound. So here we have written it in a way that it is pronounced as wa. So sa, sabata, ba, sabata, bala, bel, sabata, bala, bel, wa, belwa, sa, sabata, ba, sabata, bala, bel, sabata, bala, bel, wa, belwa. Belwa means frog. So then this is sa, samata, ma. So you see that the sound actually changes here. So we can actually listen to the way the words.
Ở trường hợp này thì chúng ta cũng có thấy có cái sự biến đổi âm ấy ạ. Ở trường hợp mà thầy đang nói đến ấy ạ.
So we can see that the sound is changed quite significantly in this case. So the way I pronounced each of these words, you can see that in some cases they are not changed very significantly, whereas in some case they are. So this is sa, samata, ma, samata, mana, men. Sa, samata, ma, samata, mana, men. Sa, samata, ma, samata, mana, men. Men, men, men. And men means medicine. So it's
Cái này là
medicine.
medicine,
So
thuốc hoặc là dược.
we see that so therefore it's quite the thing is that Tibetan is a more phonetical language, meaning that whatever you write, you say it from your you sound exactly as you write. So therefore we see that the changes of the sound also helps us with the spelling. So the way, if you are able to pronounce it more clearly, you're able to write it with the correct spelling. But in some cases, we see that the changes of the sound are not very significant, and thus, and in some cases, it's quite impossible for us to even begin to understand the difference in the sound. So therefore, in those cases, it may be a little difficult, but in most cases, we find that the difference in the sound is quite significant. So men means medicine. And this is sa, sa na ru zo, na ru zo la zo. Sa, na ru zo, na ru zo la zo. Sa, na ru zo, na ru zo la zo. So here we see that the actual sound of the foundation of name is tsa, which is actually not very different from the sound that it produces with the addition of the hadron letter sa ta ta tsa and tsa are quite similar. Sa ta ta tsa na ro tsul la tsul. And therefore, the reason why we have it here is to help us with the spelling, and that's the only purpose here. So sa ta ta tsa na ro tsul la tsul. Sa ta ta tsa na ro tso, sa ta tsa na ro tso la tsul. Tsul. Tsul means to bestow, meaning to bestow a blessing, to bestow wish, or to grant wish. So tsul means to bestow something, like a title, a wish, or a blessing. So tsul. So these are the 11 cases in which we have sa as the headjoint letter. And now we have 10 cases where we have la as the headjoint letter. So there are 10 consonants with la as head joint letter, and these 10 consonants are ka, kha, nga, cha, cha, ta, tha, pa, pa, za. So these are
Có 10
the
cái phụ âm á, có 10 cái phụ âm mà có cái từ chữ tiếng tạng đấy em không biết, nhưng mà có 10 cái phụ âm này thì nó có cái chèn trên đấy ạ, cái chữ chèn trên. Thank you.
So we see that these 10 cases are these 10 consonants are the cases where we have la as the head joint letter. So the la is joining at the head over here. So let me pronounce these once again. Ka, kha, nga, cha, cha, ta, tha, pa, pa, za. So these 10 different letters or sound or consonants have have la as their head joint letters, and so we can see here, and the rules of pronouncing or the rules of saying them out are similar, with only difference is that in this case we have la as the head joint letter, and thus these are pronounced singularly because they are at the top, and ka, kha, nga, cha, cha, ta, tha, pa, pa, ha, which comes below all of these consonants. So these will be pronounced with the term tak, which means joint. So ka joined to la. So actually the meaning should be la joined to ka, but this is just something that has to do with the way of Tibetan, the way Tibetan people think. Whenever we say joint, it's mostly from below rather than something that's from the above. So, but in any case, so the first one is la katak. So la kata ka, la kata ka, la kata ka, la kata ka. And when you are actually practicing the character reading, meaning when you're reading each and every character individually, like here, la kata ka shakyu ku khasa ku. Like in this case, we're reading one single sound individually. In those cases, we have to make sure that we are pronouncing it in a way that is written here. So lakata ka, lakata ka, lakata ga, lakata ga, lakata ga, langata nga. So we have already understood that when it comes to nga, the sound will be the same. And another thing that needs to be said is that we see that these three with this one, actually these four are the consonant that seems to be following all of the three, or has all of the three as the okay, so it seems, I mean samata. I think we have already gone with samata men. So if I've missed samata, then let me do it once more. So we see that here we have sa with ma, samata ma. Oh, yes, samata ma, samata mana men, sa, samata ma, samata mana men, sa, samata ma, samata mana men. Men means medicine. So So if I had missed it previously, then I have done it now, then I must have missed it. So very sorry. So now we go back to here. So we see that these four consonants, which are ka, kha, nga, and pa, seems to be following all of the three, or having all of the three letters, the Hadron letters with them, with probably all of them having a similar sound, with a very little change in the sound. So this is langata nga. So previously it was sangata nga. So we see that the sound is the same. There's no difference in the sound, but it changes the spelling, and that helps us with understanding the spelling of different words. And this is lachata cha, lachata cha, latata ta, latata ta. So lapata pa, lapata pa, lahata pa. So whenever we have either with we have the sound with having the subjoined letter or the headround letter, the pronunciation of these words seems to be the most difficult for most of the people who are trying to study Tibetan. So this word is probably one of the more notorious ones to pronounce because it's quite difficult. So this is lahata fa, lahata fa, lahata fa. So lakata ka, lakata ka, langata nga, lachata cha, lachata cha, latata ta, latata latata ta, lapata pa, lapata ba, lahata ha. So when I'm doing the individual character reading, please listen carefully the way I'm pronouncing each individual sound and combined. So the very reason to do the individual reading the way I'm doing is to have as much practice as possible with each and every one of the character individually as well as combined. So lakata ka, lakata kashapuku, lakata kashapuku kaku, lakata kashapuku kasaku. See, what I'm doing here is that, so in some cases you'll see people just reading this as lakata kashapuku kasaku, and that will be it. Whereas what I'm doing right now is that I'm repeating it every time I'm combining it, so that you will also hear the transition or the change in the sound, as well as you will hear the individual sound when they are pronounced individually. So this gives us more training with a single word. So the first one is kupa, second one is gungku, third one is nga, fourth one is chak, jangku, ta, then rapa, bawa, tam. So the first one. So two-syllable. Lakata la, lakata ka, lakata kashapyu ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka sa ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka sa ku, pa, la, lakata ka, la, lakata kashapyu ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka sa ku, pa, pupa, la, lakata kashapyu ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka ku, la, lakata kashapyu ku ka sa ku, la, la kata kasha kuk kasa kukpa, 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 kukpa. So kukpa means dumb, which means someone that cannot speak, someone who is unable to speak, so who cannot talk.
Kiểu như là bị câm ấy ạ.
That's so. And now we have this one. So la kata ka. So you see the change in the sound. La kata ka, la kata kanga kang, la kata ka, la kata kanga kang, pa shakyu pu, pa shakyu puka puk, la kata ka, la kata ka, la kata kanga kang, pa shakyu puka puk, kang puk, la kata ka, la kata kanga kang, pa shakyu pu, pa shakyu puka puk, kang puk, kang puk. We see that there are two syllables. Kang puk, kang puk. So before we move with this, small clarification. Some people will actually use the word kukpa as someone who is dumb. So when we say dumb, it's not only about someone who cannot speak, but someone who is not very intellectually gifted. Like, for example, someone who is not able to perceive something which is said to them. So in other words, foolish. So in Tibetan, we also use the same word for foolish, though there is a word that actually means foolish or dumb, but in a more colloquial system, meaning in a more spoken language, people rather use the word kukpa than the word which is actually for the foolish, but it is something that has been accepted throughout the many years of many hundred years, and so it has become a way to refer to someone who is intellectually not gifted, meaning who is foolish. So kukpa is also understood in that way. So kukpa here, it means dumb. So we will just go with that explanation. So kukpa means dumb, someone who cannot speak. So here we have a word that has two syllables. Kangpuk. La kata ka, la kata kanga kang, pa shakyu puk, pa shakyu puka puk, kangpuk, kangpuk, kangpuk. And gangpuk means balloon. So you see here balloons of different color. Okay, so we move to the third one. So it's a single syllable. La ngata nga. La ngata nga. La ngata nga. So this is quite simple. And nga means 5. So I have written the Roman numeration here. So it means 5, number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, nga means 5. Okay, now we're moving to the next one, which is la chata cha, la chata chaka chak, la chata chaka sa chak, la chata cha, la chata chaka chak, la chata chaka sa chak. So this is chak, chak, chak. So in some in some places, like it's more like a regional kind of thing. What happens is that people tend to not write it with sa. And that's just the other way to spell this thing, which is chak. So if you actually encounter people writing this without the sa, you must know that it's more like a original thing rather than a misspelling. So this is chak, lajata, cha, la, lajata, chaka, chak, la, lajata, chakasa, chak, 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 chak. And chak means iron. So even though I have uh, an art or a drawing that symbolizes a weight, but it's more to tell that these weights are made of iron. So chak means iron. Okay, so now this is a word with two syllables. La chata, cha. La chata, changa, chang. La chata, changa, chang. La chata, changa, chang. Kashapyu, ku. Kashapyu, ku. Kashapyu, ku. La chata, cha. La chata, changa, chang. La chata, changa, chang. Kashapyu, ku. Chang, ku. La chata, cha. La chata, changa, chang. Kashapyu, ku. Changku. So Jangku means green, this color, as you see. It is the green color. So we have this one, which is la tata ta. So it's simple because it is just one syllable with no prefix or suffix. So la tata ta, la tata ta, la tata ta, ta. And ta means to see something. To sometimes also understood as to look, but in most cases it is to see. So to see something. Ta.
Đây là nhìn ạ.
Yes.
Nhìn hoặc là
So you see that this is la tata ta, la tata ta, la tata ta, la tata tana ten, la tata tana ten, la tata ta, la tata tana ten, la tata tana ten, and then means means possessing, to have something. For example, if we see that this person here, it has the gift, so this is then, to possess or to have. So then, so now we have the word which has two syllables. So this is ra.
Nên mình sẽ học cái từ mà có nhiều âm tiết hơn ạ.
So ra.
Các từ có hai âm tiết ạ.
Lapata pa, lapata pakha pak, lapata pakhasa pak, ra, lapata pa, lapata pakha pak, lapata pakhasa pak, ra, lapata pa, lapata pakha pak, lapata pakhasa pak, rapak, 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 rapak. So rapa or rapak means goat skin, the skin of the goat. So rapak.
Da dê ạ.
So then la pata pa, 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 wa pawa, la pata pa, wa pawa. So pawa, pa, wa, pawa. La pata pa, la pata pa, wa pawa, pawa, pawa. And pawa means goiter. You see, some people have this at the throat or side of the throat. So this is goiter, pawa. Then we have lahata tha, lahata tha tham, lahata tha, lahata tha tham, lahata tha, lahata tha tham, 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 lahata tha, lahata tha tham, tham. So you see that this is actually a little difficult to pronounce. It is lahata tha, tha. So it starts with la and ends with ha. So it's la, lahata tha, lahata thama tham, 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 tham. And thumb means shoes. So these are the 10 cases where we have la as the head joint letter. So with this, we have covered the entire thing on the general classification of basic sounds. So we have started with the 4 vowels, yang, and then we went to the consonants, seju, sumju, the 30 consonant. Then we went on and divided the consonants into different groups, which were in total a 7.5 group. And then afterwards, what we did is that we classified the 7.5 group of consonants in first in four different groups on the basis of the position of those consonants in the name. So the first one was the foundation of name, then the suffix, 10 suffix letter, then we had the we have the then we did the suffix letter and then post suffix letter, and then we went on and studied the 3 different subjoined letters, which were yatak, ratak, the 4 different subjoined letters, which were ratak, latak, and then yatak, and then watak. And then the last class was on the first head joint letter, which was ratak, rango. And today we studied the next 2 or the other 2 of the head joint letters, which were latak, lango, and sango. Lango and sango. And we discussed the 11 cases of sa as the head joint letter and 10 cases of la as the head joint letter with the examples. So till this, we have already finished the 8 weeks course on the basic classification, the general classification of basic sounds. And these
thầy nói là buổi hôm nay là buổi kết thúc của cái 8 cái buổi hợp âm cơ bản nhé.
Yes. Yes. So we see that till this point we have already classified all the basic sounds in Tibetan language in their respective groups. And this is the general classification of basic sounds. And the thing that everyone should do is now start like it would have been good if it was done from the beginning of the course. If not, you can start now by memorizing the sound of each of the character. And then we have done the classes on combining those character. And so if you would be able to do that, then it would be easy for you to join. So now after this, from next week, we're planning on having a class. We're going to start another class, which is going to be for 12 days. So this 8 weeks classes was for 8 days. So we're going to do 12 days, which will be only for 4 weeks. And this is because for each week we will have 3 classes. And for those 3 classes, for those 12 days or 12 classes, we will be learning combined reading by the help of some story books or some basic books that we can study.
Vâng ạ, đến những cái buổi sau ấy thì thầy sẽ có phần thêm cả phần đọc nữa, hoặc là những cái phần về các câu chuyện.
And one thing that I wanted to ask everyone is to make a poll of or whether we should do it at 7 or we should do it 4, or which timing is more relevant, which timing is more convenient to you. So we can do either from 4 to 5 or to 7 to 8. Both of these timings we have
Thầy đang
decided.
hỏi là cái thời gian nào thì phù hợp với mọi người, thì em nghĩ là mọi người nếu mà mọi người đang có nhóm đấy thì mọi người có thể nhắn cho thầy cái thời gian. What time?
So therefore, it could be either from 4 to 5 or it could be from 7 to 8. Any of this is fine for me. So you can see in the chat, it's either from 5 to
Mọi người
4 to
kiểm
5 or
tra cái
7
tin
to 8.
nhắn của thầy ở trong chat đấy ạ.
So
I think I think 4 to 5 is convenient for us. I think so, Bella.
okay, so does everyone, so if everyone agrees to it, then we can do it from 4 to 5. There will be 3 classes each week, starting next week, and it will be
Mỗi
on
một tuần sẽ
combined
có
reading.
3 buổi.
So
they will study 3 times a week, right?
yes.
And on what day?
So this will be so 6 to 7 is not possible because I have classes during 6 to 7. So
Thầy
I can
bảo là
only have
thời gian đấy thầy bận
4
rồi
to
ạ.
5
Thầy từ
and
6 đến 7 giờ thì
7
thầy
to
bận
8.
ạ.
So very sorry for that. And
mọi người sẽ chọn 2 cái giờ mà thầy chat thôi ạ. Còn đâu cái giờ mà mọi người đang muốn ấy thì thầy đang bị bận, có lớp khác ạ.
So once we're done with this classes, then we can start with the basic conversation class. So so this is the announcement that I wanted to
Sang
make.
tuần sau thì sẽ là có những cái buổi mà tức là học về những cái giao tiếp cơ bản, giao tiếp ngắn. Bởi vì mình đã hoàn thành xong những cái phần mà về phát âm rồi và về đánh vần rồi. Thì xong sang chặng sau thì mình sẽ có những cái câu chuyện này và những cái cuộc đối thoại ngắn này.
So it will be, yes,